It is episode 9 of the Handy Homebrew Show. I'm here with Matt Paulson. Say hi, Matt Paulson.
Hi.
That's his favorite thing. Today we're talking hops and how to cool your wort before you pitch your yeast.
I like hops.
Yeah, I like hops too. I'm a big hop head, and you know that about me. I like the IPAs. Matt Paulson, you're not a big fan of the IPAs.
It's growing on me. I'm starting to.
There are some that are balanced. There are some that are regal, and there are some that are just a punch in the face, and you're like, I don't like those ones either. I like the balanced ones.
You know, I've been studying some IPA recipes, and I saw one today from, I believe it was Northern Brewer, called Kama Citra.
Oh, good fun little play on words.
Right. So they don't use a whole lot of hops. In the early boil, they use a lot of hops late boil. And I'm talking 15 to 0 minutes left in the boil.
Flame out, yeah. So you're looking at a lot of aroma, but then you have to add a lot more hops to get the same kind of bittering effect.
Right.
Because you're doing it later in the boil. And we'll talk about scheduling hop utilization here in a second.
Yeah.
Just a few updates. Matt Paulson, what do you got on tap right now?
Right now, all I have on tap is a wheat beer.
That's it?
That's it. Can you believe it?
God, you're like, please, sir, I'd like some more.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh, that's sad.
I brewed this
ferment. You got some fermented?
Yeah, I brewed this Saturday. Okay. It was awesome. Probably the best brew day I've had. I hit all of my efficiency numbers.
And you guys know what those are.
I hit my ABV and all of my gravities.
Boom, comes out with gravity.
I hit all of my my amounts, my volumes for water.
Boom, that's a good day, huh? You gotta love it when a plan comes together.
I was really happy with it. Yeah,
that's very cool. Very cool. I have the coffee porter that's cold crashing right now.
Right.
Been experimenting a little bit with coffee and bourbon that I'm going to add to that in secondary. So we'll see if we can't get some of that coffee aroma out of there. So I'm excited about that. And I'm brewing up a Pliny the Elder clone this weekend.
I'm kind of excited about that.
That's a hoppy one.
It is.
I've never had Pliny and I can't find it here. So
I haven't either.
So this will be the best way to do it. Just make it myself. From what I hear, it's a pretty good beer. So we'll give that a shot. And that carries us into our topic today: hops. This is a 5-gallon Pliny clone batch, and it has like 14 ounces of hops plus hop shots. It's intense. It's crazy. But you hear that, and you think all of a sudden, you think bitter, 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 bitter. And that's not necessarily the case.
Right.
Because hops are there to balance out the sweetness of our malt.
Right.
Our wort is it's sweet liquid, and hops are there to give us a balance between sweetness and bitterness.
And it'll balance the alcohol out.
Exactly.
Also,
you won't get that alcohol burn like you do with grained alcohols or distilled alcohols or bourbons or whiskeys or anything like that.
Right.
It's a balancing effect. So that's what brings us today: hop utilization.
Well, before we start, you know what I want to do?
What?
I want to say a couple hop names.
Okay. Like
do you
real
have
ones?
some real ones.
Okay.
Some really fun ones, because
Mosaic.
Those are that's
Mosaic right now is like the hottest hop in the IPA bit. I actually went to a brewery this weekend called Coop Ale Works down in Oklahoma City. Thanks, guys. It was fantastic. They made their F5 IPA, which you can find in stores. They made it with a Mosaic hop, which is a newer hop on the scene. A lot of blueberry, a lot of tropical kind of aromas to it.
Right.
It's more used for that aroma kind of a hop. Fantastic hop. Can't get enough of it. Smells great. My wife even loved it, and she hates IPAs.
Really?
So it was a fantastic hop. But Mosaic is kind of my. I know it's kind of pop music-y.
Yeah,
it's very trendy right now.
It's trendy right now.
But it's a good hop.
Yeah,
I like it.
Well, here's a couple that I've used lately, and I'm probably butchering the names of them, but they're really fun to say. Motueka. Shout out to my friends in New Zealand. That's a hop from New Zealand.
Another hop from New Zealand, Galaxy.
Galaxy
very,
hops. Very good hop.
I love Galaxy hops. They're great, fantastic in an IPA.
Yeah. Another one that I've been using lately is called a German Huel melon hop. Fantastic hop. Not very good for bittering, but awesome for flavor, aroma. You get green strawberry, honeydew melon flavor, melon aroma. Fantastic.
Crazy
One other
amazing.
one is a German Bavarian Mandarina. Very citrusy.
Right.
See, this is what it's all about.
We should do an entire IPA based off of these crazy hops.
That'd be cool.
Because everybody uses they use Citra,
Simcoe,
Mosaic.
Cascade
Cascade's
Centennial.
a huge. Centennial's a big one.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been using a lot of Sterling lately for Pilsners. We use the Sterling Saaz.
And Saaz.
I love Kent Golding, US or UK. Kent Golding is a fantastic one. Fuggles. Fuggles is a good one.
For an English brown.
That's a great bittering hop right there. It's not. It doesn't smell fantastic. It smells like wet dirt. But it's a great bittering hop, and that's the hops have different characters, and this is why you have to use them.
Right.
Now, when we talk hops, everybody hears this term, IBUs. What is an IBU, Matt Paulson?
That stands for International Bittering Unit.
Boom, International Bittering Unit.
I think
that is what the acid levels of your hop will add to your beer depending on when it's utilized. Now, what people don't understand is it's not universal. What I mean by that is just because you put Simcoe in something doesn't mean it's got an IBU of 12.8.
Right.
Or 10.8, somewhere in that range. Doesn't mean it's in that range. It has to do with how long it's being utilized
in the boil.
Right. Or how long it's being utilized in secondary when there's not a lot of IBUs added in secondary, almost none at all. It's more for the aroma. I personally love Simcoe. People don't like to aroma with it. I love to aroma with it. It got kind of a little pininess to it. A little, like thick grapefruits and pine trees.
Okay.
If I put that in for a full 60-minute boil, I'm getting my 12 IBUs out of it. If I put it in for 30 minutes, it comes out to roughly 6 IBUs.
Right.
And it steps itself down. And again, we've talked about calculators a bunch.
Right.
This is where calculators help out, guys.
Yeah.
Hop schedules do not have to be complex.
No.
To make a complex beer.
No. Here's a perfect example. I did a smash brew. Smash stands for single malt and single hop. I used 2-row malt and Cascade. I did 3 editions of Cascade. That was it.
And at different times, they gave you different characteristics.
Right. I did a 60-minute to get my bittering. I did a 30-minute to get my flavoring. And I did a 0-minute to get that aroma in.
Smells got that.
Cascade smells so
Cascade's
good.
got it. So when we talk utilization, guys, it has to do with the time in the boil.
Right.
There's things from first hop additions, like when you're bringing your boil up to temperature, you already put hops in because you want them to utilize even longer.
Right.
There's hops at flame out. There's hops at whirlpool hops. I have a whirlpool attachment, and on my Pliny clone, I have to whirlpool for 10 minutes with another addition of hops.
Right, and they call that a hop stand, right?
Yes, it's just sitting there. It's not boiling. It's not active anymore. It's just spinning.
Right.
And then there's obviously your dry hopping, which
Right.
happens in the secondary. This is how people get that aroma punch that they really want in an IPA.
Big aroma.
Or a pale ale, or sometimes they'll use it. I've seen it used in an Irish red just to give you that Irish red.
Yep.
A little tiny amount, maybe a quarter ounce for a 5-gallon batch, not like 2 ounces like you do for an IPA.
Right.
But you add this to the secondary after your yeast has done its job, and it just imparts that aroma. Not a lot of bittering, almost none actually.
Yeah.
And no flavor.
Right.
But it's got that aroma that you're looking for. So that really
Right.
puts it over top, gets it that juicy, citrusy that you're looking for in certain beers. And
Right.
when you think hops, you think IPAs. But every
Right.
beer, I've never brewed a beer that didn't have hops specifically. But other things could be added in place of hops.
Oh, sure.
You can use any kind of vegetation, really. I mean,
If you wanted to,
I've seen people brew entire beers using only spruce. Spruce needles.
Really?
Yes, spruce needles. The
Interesting.
oils and the spruce needles and stuff, just like taking a hop cone, drying it out and throwing it in your beer, you can do the same thing with spruce needles. So it's a fantastic beer that was produced from it as well. Person knows a lot more about spruce needles than I do.
yeah, definitely. Me too.
Hops are easy to do information on. That's why it's so much fun.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at it, the longer it's in there, the more bitter you're going to get.
Right.
The medium it's in there, more flavoring, more bittering, more aroma. It's kind of in that middle range. And then the lower you get in your time, you're looking at aroma.
Right. So here's kind of a rule that I like to follow. I know is it John Palmer?
Yeah, John Palmer.
John Palmer wrote a fantastic book about homebrewing.
How to brew.
And I think that's what everybody kind of considers
kind of the Bible.
homebrew Bible.
It's kind of the Bible.
So after reading through that a little bit, I come to when I'm doing a recipe formulation, I'm looking at my hops. I'm looking, if I want a bittering hop, I do it for a full boil. Mm-hmm. Now this is my preference.
Yes.
This
and your
is
boil
what
is probably
I usually
60
follow.
minutes, right?
60
About
minutes.
60 minutes.
Yeah. If I want an aroma, or if I want a hop to provide flavor, I go between 15 and 30 minutes. Now, that's where you have to kind of be careful in that 15 to 30 minute range, because the longer you go, the more IBUs or the more bitterness
you're
going to
adding
add.
more, and it might not be balanced then.
Right. And then for aroma hops, I go from 0 minutes left in the boil to about 10 to maybe 15 minutes. Now, I build all my recipes in Beersmith.
Yep, so do I.
So I can track my IBUs when I add my hops and
at different times. It'll show you the gauge.
Right.
It's fantastic.
So that's what I use, and that's just kind of a rule of thumb I follow. 60-minute bittering, 15 to 30-minute flavor, 0 to 10 is aroma. So that's just kind of a general rule that
I've seen people get as complex as quarter ounce for 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. You can make it as complex or as simple as you want and still get great beer. Another thing I want to talk about on utilization before we kind of move on. Hops are fun. Play with them. Play with your hops, just like your grain bill. Play with your hop bill. Yeah. Split your batch up and do 2 different boils and then add different things at different times. And then you have 2 different beers from one wort collection instead of it's a blast. And then we'll get into yeast next time and talk about how that can change it even more. Yeah. So you're branching out as your brew day goes. You can start with one large amount and then go different hops, then different yeast. Now you got 4 different beers. Yeah. You got 20 different beers if you want.
And I learned the best way to learn about hops is to make a smash recipe. Yeah. Single malt, single hop.
And explore that one hop.
Yeah, and do that one hop.
That's when I fell in love with Simcoe. I made a smash Simcoe, one of my first ever personal recipes. I love Simcoe. Yeah. People hate Simcoe. I'm a fan of Simcoe. Yeah. I feel like it's been there for me. Another thing is during this boil, one thing I want to add that's been brought up on a lot of forums and stuff is when you boil, make sure you're boiling vigorously. Sure. When you get your hops in there.
Yeah, you want a rolling boil.
You want a rolling boil. This is not a simmer, guys. We're not trying to save as much as we can. We should have enough liquid that when it boils off, we still come up with the right volumes, but that movement is helping utilize those hops. It's also giving you a hot break, which is your protein break, which is going to help clarify your beer in the long run, too. Right. That protein will settle out when you start to cool it quickly, and then you'll have less protein that you have to wrestle with in your fermenter to keep your beer clear. So there's a lot of reasons to have a rolling boil. It doesn't need to be boiling over the top, and we can talk in the future about different techniques for keeping boilovers from happening. Right. But get a rolling boil, look at a couple different hops, and do a smash recipe, or do small countertop recipes and just see what those hops, smell them, taste them, see what's going on. Hops are fun, man.
Don't taste raw hops.
I taste raw hops.
You do?
Yeah. They taste like...
I only did it once.
It's like grass.
Yeah.
It's all like grass. Now, another thing we're going to talk about on the hops is once you're done, guys, we got to talk chilling. Yeah. Okay? We're going to talk chilling, and we'll just spend a couple minutes talking chilling. We'll get more in depth of this when we get there. It is important that once your beer is done boiling and you've done all your hop additions, that we drop the temperature as quickly and as stably as possible. Right. People have done things like ice baths where you take your whole boil kettle, you put it in an ice bath, and you stir
right in there.
And in the thermodynamics, we'll it's always going to go from hot to cold. That's how thermodynamics works. So it's going to want to run out to that ice on the sides. If you got a bigger setup, you might have to have an immersion chiller, which is dropping your copper in, letting cold water run through it. Same thing, same principle. Right. Matt Paulson has a counterflow chiller, which attaches to his grandfather. So cold water's running one way, hot wort's running the other way. Thermodynamics. I use a small plate chiller. This one isn't too fancy, but it'll chill a 5-gallon batch in about less than 6 minutes. I recirculate back through one time, though. I will pump all 5 gallons back into my boil kettle so it cools it, and then it cools it one more time before I go in the fermenter because it's just not big enough or beefy enough to handle the volume. That even if I turn the ball valve down as low as I can, it's still too much.
Too hot.
It's 212 degrees we just killed. Yeah. But I'll boil it. I'll run it back through one time through the whirlpool, and then boom. Then I'll go through, and sometimes I go down too low. I get down to like the 60s, and I like to pitch my yeast at like 72 degrees. But we'll talk more about yeast and temperature pitching and all that stuff.
My recirculation cooler that I used this weekend, all for my grandfather guys out there. My groundwater is at 56 degrees.
It's cold.
Which is cold. Yeah. The way I did it. Of course, recirculate your wort to sanitize the chiller. Then I started running cold water through the counterflow and still recirculating through the grandfather. Once my temperature reached 140 degrees on the controller,
that's when you know.
I was like, okay, put my hose into my fermenter, opened my shut-off valve opened it all the way up, and just turned my water on, and it couldn't have gotten any better on Saturday. I tell you what, I had it set.
It's like kicking the game-winning field goal. You're like Villanova over here.
I didn't have to do anything. I sat put the controller on the water hose to right where it was, put the hose in, started my pump, put the thermometer on it. Still going to get one of those Blickman thermometers.
Yeah, thermometers.
Thermometer.
They should call that a thermometer.
Right.
Those are fantastic.
My temperature was exactly 68 degrees Fahrenheit.
And that's what you wanted your yeast working at. Perfect.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly.
That's the cool thing. Once your equipment gets dialed in, you can do stuff like, you know when to cut it, you know when to stop it, you know when to transfer stuff over, you know when to add your hops, you know when your boil is actually rolling. So we're getting in the nitty and gritty of it, guys. So I'm pretty excited about where this forum is going. We've really started building our base, our followers. Please like us, subscribe, and follow still.
Share us.
Share us.
Share
we don't care.
Yeah,
if you guys got something to say, come talk to us.
Yeah.
We'll do anything. We've talked to some other guys that have a homebrew show.
Yep.
We're talking about doing a little collaboration with them. We're pretty excited about doing some segments with them. But I think right now for hops and hop utilization and chilling, that covers it for today. Matt Paulson, what is it time for?
Pints and Picks.
It's time for Pints and Picks. It's episode 9 of the Handy Homebrew Show. We just talked about hop utilization and a little bit of chilling that we'll get more into later. But now it's time for Pints and Picks. I'm excited about this Pints and Picks because this is a beer I've truly never had before.
I haven't either.
I just picked it up. It looked pretty cool, so I figured I'd give it a shot. Where's it from, Matt?
So this is from Evil Twin Brewing, called Yin and Yang. It's 33%
Stout, Imperial Stout, and then 67% Imperial IPA.
Right.
So it's a play on the old Black and Tans.
Right.
So this could be pretty interesting. Now, where is Evil Twin located?
Evil Twin is in Stratford, Connecticut.
Stratford, Connecticut. All right, let's get into this one, and then we'll our pick of the day. I'm pretty excited about this one. Is a little movie called Rare Exports. It's an adorable, cute little Christmas movie that you and your family will come to love for. I'm just kidding. This is the craziest foreign movie I've ever seen. It's supposed to be a Christmas movie, but it plays up on the fact that Santa Claus was actually a demon and they had to encase him in ice. It's not a horror movie by any means. It used to be on Netflix. I don't know if you can find it anymore. It's subtitled, so we're gonna have to read. So don't drink too much because then you can't read it.
Oh,
but it's a very interesting movie. It's one of those ones that you're like, oh, I'll never watch that. And I just watched it one night, and me and my wife had to buy it on Blu-ray. It's fantastic. It's a great movie, great acting in it. I mean, just because movies come from other countries, people, doesn't mean that they're bad. So it's called Rare Exports. Check it out. You will never expect the ending to this one. It's crazy. It's a crazy film.
Huh.
We watch it every Christmas now. We probably shouldn't. Because
Instead of Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, no, we watch that as well. What are we, heathens?
Oh.
Okay, here we go. That's dark.
That's very dark.
That Imperial.
Very, very
I still get a lot of stout to it.
thick.
A little bit of IPA aroma.
A little bit. Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's got a lot of alcohol in it.
They weren't kidding. That is, what is that, 10%? Holy moly.
I don't know.
They weren't kidding about that. Yeah, 10% alcohol.
But you know what? I get more alcohol than I do hops.
Yeah.
Brings it back to the hop utilization. You can balance that alcohol flavor out with hops.
Yeah.
More hops is going to cover up the
And
alcohol
adding
flavor.
I'm actually getting from the stout a little bit of coffee notes.
Oh, yeah. I get the coffee and the chocolate right up front.
And it's bitter, and it's not just bitter because the hops. It's bitter because some of the grain as well.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
This is a pretty intense. This one would actually be probably good on ice cream or something, like make a little sauce out of it. But I don't know if I could drink too many of these. It's a good beer. It's just, it's strong.
It is good.
It's
it is
strong.
really good.
It's balanced.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, it's not too much of one or the other, even though it's not 50-50. It's
right.
They've done a good job of mixing the good ratios, but it's I get almost like it's a pale stout than two different beers. It seems like a stout with those IPA hops, which is pretty much what it is, because the stout grain bill is going to overtake the IPA grain bill, and the IPA hops are going to overtake the stout hops. So that's pretty much what they've created here. Yeah. It is definitely Evil Twin.
It's definitely
and that's why you should watch this, because who knows if Santa Claus is good or bad? We don't know. He's the Evil Twin. It's crazy. Rare Exports. We got an Evil Twin Brewing Company. We got the Yin and Yang here. We're drinking it up good. Me and Matt Paulson. Episode 9. Thanks for checking us out. Follow us, like us, subscribe.
Don't forget, we're not beer experts.
We're only beer enthusiasts. Cheers. I'm drinking the shit out of this. That was a good smile. That was good.